What's up, everybody? Spencer with the Fantasy Fanatics. I'm here with Nathan. How are you doing today, Nathan?
What's going on, guys? It's awesome to make another video for everybody. Today we've got the AFC South. We just recorded the AFC East, so go check out that video if you haven't seen it already. We're going through each team in each division, making a separate video about them, about each division, and we just highlight the fantasy relevant players. We give our thoughts on them, where we think you should be drafting them, which ones to avoid, and which ones could potentially be breakouts.
All right, let's go ahead and get started with the Jaguars. Although Urban Meyer has not committed to his QB1 this season, I think we both know who it's going to be.
It's Gardner Minshew.
I was going to say Tim Tebow. Rest in peace to the Tebow. Nah,
Timmy Tebow.
Not dead, but just wish he was still on the Jacksonville roster. I mean,
yeah,
he would rally these troops right now. Since they're down 23-3, I mean, he would have rallied them in the halftime locker.
He would say one hell of a prayer, and they'd come out just firing.
they would. Look, ever since we're talking about him, they just got a 50-yard catch. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Trevor Lawrence. He's usually drafted around that
QB,
right below Jalen Hurts.
QB 12 to 15 area, that kind of range?
Yeah, somewhere around then. He has nice upside, although he has not looked great this preseason. It's only preseason.
Has looked shaky.
And he hasn't, if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't had DJ Chark yet.
That is correct.
Marvin Jones has gone down. It's preseason. Let's not overreact too much.
Well, as long as Marvin Jones is indeed like not potentially serious injury, keep that in mind.
Yeah, so I mean, he has upside. He also has very high bust potential.
I agree.
Basically, every single rookie quarterback. But I mean, he's just a lot higher just because he was the number 1 overall pick, and they will be down in a lot of football games, so he will have to be throwing. But they do have
atrocious.
They do have 2 really good running backs, though. James Robertson, I think he was voted as the 100th best player this season as an undrafted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive. I loved James Robinson last year, but they drafted Travis Etienne in the first round. Don't love that move. We'd be talking James Robinson right now, top 20, top 15 pick if that wasn't the case. But now I see him falling all the way to the 6th, 7th round sometimes.
See, I think James Robinson's great value based on how they've been. I know it's only preseason, small sample size. Based on how they've been using him, James Robinson's been the first back. Carlos Hyde has been the second back, and Etienne has been the third. And I think they're really going to feature James Robinson, and then Etienne will kind of work his way up into that second role, that kind of like change of pace role. But I don't think they're going to use him as a receiver, as we were hearing before the preseason, where they were like they're going to line up in the slot. They've got 3 good receivers. There's no need for that. So I think it is going to be the James Robinson show, and I think getting him in that 6th to 7th round range where he's going right now, I think it's great value.
I have to disagree.
Yeah.
I love James Robinson. I kind of see this as a 50-50 timeshare. You don't draft a first round
No shot.
You don't draft a first round running back just to have him play 30% of the snaps. I think he is definitely there to eat up a role, probably 10 to 12 touches a game potentially. I see James Robinson around that 10 to 12 touch range also, with actually Travis Etienne having more potential throughout the season, just because I think he is a more dynamic player than James Robinson. I think volume was king for James Robinson last year, and that's why he was. I'm not trying to take away anything from James Robinson. I think volume was king for him. He
was an efficient runner, and
he was. I
think I saw a stat where he was like 40% of his points came from passing game. Something crazy like that. Like I would never thought. So he's very competent in the passing game, and just how they've been using him so far, what we saw last year, I think he's going to be the guy. That's just me. Could be wrong.
Something else that got him a lot of his points, Gardner Minshew did not look down the field much, and he did dump it off to James Robinson a lot. That's also something to think about too. And Trevor Lawrence, he has been dinking and dunking in the preseason, but he doesn't really kind of give off that vibe of someone who's just going to look to his running back in the flats every single play.
He's got a huge arm. And
Yeah.
so I think it'll only benefit the Jaguars if he looks deep for guys like DJ Chark and Marvin Jones.
All right, and let's speaking of those two, let's talk about the wide receivers. I think all of us have them ranked: Chark, Chenault, Jones, with probably Chenault having the most upside, even though DJ Chark had a great 2019 season. Laviska Chenault is just a playmaker.
I think people are sleeping on Marvin Jones. I mean, he's been a touchdown machine when he was up in Detroit, and I think he's a pretty linky receiver. If he can build some kind of relationship with Trevor Lawrence, I know Lawrence so far loves to look for Chenault because he's kind of like a Chris Godwin kind of player. Chenault is, and so if Marvin Jones or DJ Chark could be that kind of Mike Evans to the Chris Godwin, I think they could have a really nice role. And it would not surprise me if Marvin Jones finishes as the highest scoring receiver on this team. But I think all three of them are going to be pretty close.
It's kind of a hot take. Old Timmy Tebow, he was probably their tight end one. I don't see any value in any of these tight ends. Don't think you should even touch them with a 10-foot pole, not even in 2 tight end leagues. I wouldn't even
No Luke Farrell? No Luke Farrell?
No.
Tons of
I think
there.
maybe a bench, for a James O'Shaughnessy in a 2 tight end league that has 15 teams.
In a 32 team league.
But I mean, I don't think he holds any real value. I mean, do you?
That was a complete joke. I completely agree. Don't touch any of them unless Tebow comes back.
Yeah, then maybe Tebow in the 8th, 7th round. No, somewhere around then, right above Logan Thomas. Now on to the Texans, the most confusing team to judge. If Deshaun Watson is not playing, I don't think any of these guys are draftable besides Brandon Cooks. I mean, David Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, obviously going to get drafted, but they're going to be at the bottom of your bench if Deshaun Watson's not playing.
I mean, they have like 4 legit running backs. Like, it's not like a 4-stringer who's like you've never heard of before. Like 4 legit running backs.
I mean, Rex Burkhead was getting valuable touches on New England.
Yeah,
a couple years ago.
It's just one big committee, and so it's hard to really pick one. And I know David Johnson's being picked first out of all of them, but it's tough. I don't know. I would wait until I was deep on my bench to really take a shot at one.
Now, if Deshaun Watson plays, I don't know which running back to really draft. It's kind of like a dart throw, really. But I do know that Brandon Cooks does have value if Deshaun Watson plays. Probably a wide receiver 2 flex play. Somebody I'm huge on that I have not told you yet, Nico Collins. He's a big rookie wide receiver. He has impressed in camp. I'm not saying he's going to be no wide receiver 1 or anything. I'm just saying he should be someone to look out for. As kind of, a dart throw in the late rounds.
If Tyrod is the quarterback, no shot.
No. I was saying if Deshaun Watson is the quarterback, he's a great passer. He's got to air it out to somebody, and I think Nico Collins could eventually be that wide receiver 2 on that team. With some value there, but
maybe Nico is chasing Tyrod around the locker room with a golf tee.
Trying to get Davis Mills in there.
Trying to get his way. But I think Tyrod offers some sneaky value because every year he's not an attractive name, but he gives you value with his legs. And, he's got the running backs to dump it off to. He's got Brandon Cooks, who's a proven receiver. Jordan Akins can pop up here and there. But, I wouldn't be surprised if Tyrod, if he plays the entire season, it wouldn't surprise me if he's like a solid QB2. Would not surprise me.
I do not love Tyrod. I am a Bills fan. Thankful for his days here in Buffalo, getting us out of the drought, but I do not love
Pro Bowler.
He was a Pro Bowler one year. He was a Pro Bowler one year. Off to the Colts. Sounded like Carson Wentz was going to miss some time. Reports have came out though. I mean, he did practice today. Today is Monday. He did practice today. Looked good at practice. Let's just hope we're getting the 2018, 2017 wins, the MVP wins. If that's the case, man, oh man, Jonathan Taylor has a chance to be RB1 in fantasy. That's crazy to say, but he has that pass catching ability. He has, he's running behind maybe the best offensive line behind Cleveland. He could really push for 20, 25 touches a game. because, I mean, they do have T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman Jr., Paris Campbell. None of those are really alpha wide receivers. T.Y. Hilton was at one point, but he is not what he used to be, I don't think. So Jonathan Taylor, I mean, really has the talent. If he gets the opportunity like McCaffrey, Cook does, watch out. I mean, he could really, win you some drafts, drafting him at 7 or 8.
Yeah, the only thing is he's got 2 other legit, even Jordan Wilkins, they seem to throw him in there just randomly. Makes no sense. But Marlon Matt coming off an Achilles injury, it's kind of a big question mark because before he was solid. Like he was a very, very competent running back. And Naheem Hines has shown flashes what he can do in the passing game, third down back, kind of change of pace. And then the receivers, I'm only touching them on my bench. And if it was going to be one, it'd be Michael Pittman. I think he's the clear Colt receiver that you would take a flyer on, but I'm not, reaching out to take one intentionally, try to reach on him.
Yeah, all 4 of those top guys do have upside, but none of them really have a set floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
what about the tight ends?
The tight ends, I'm a big Mo Alley Cox fan. I think he does have some potential. Probably not a top 17, 18 pick.
Yeah.
Neither is Jack Doyle. But I mean, somebody's got to catch the ball if Carson Wentz is playing good, right?
Yeah,
it's just kind of who's going to catch the ball. I mean, maybe Paris Campbell can break out as that receiver they drafted him to be.
Yeah, the thing is, when Carson Wentz was in Philly, he loved to go to the tight ends. The tight ends produced, and so maybe this is another case, like we were talking about with New England in the last video, where they line up with 2 tight ends and both of them can produce. I don't think it's going to be quite like that. If I had to pick one, it would be Jack Doyle because I think he's far more proven.
Who is the Zach Ertz and who is the Dallas Goedert?
The Zach Ertz is 100% Jack Doyle. Like Zach Ertz, like in his prime when he was the main target, and then Mo Alley Cox he's the bigger, more athletic Dallas Goedert, if you would. So I would prefer Jack Doyle because I think he's got more guaranteed targets.
Okay, but none of them.
But to be clear, this year I think Goddard is more valuable than Ertz on the Eagles. I think their roles have kind of flip flopped. I think he's overtaken him.
But none of them worthy of him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe as like a second tight end on your bench, but just definitely make sure you get someone above them.
All right, going on to the Titans, the move of the offseason, trading for Hall of Fame wide receiver Julio Jones. People don't know if that hurts or helps A.J. Brown because it takes, it takes their number 1 corner away from him maybe. I think the guy helps the most, Derrick Henry.
I agree. Derrick Henry, and shout out to fellow App State alum Darrington Evans. I think Derrick Henry is gonna. I think he's gonna feast this year. I've got him at 3 currently in my rankings, but if you're in the 2 spot, I think McCaffrey's clear 1. But if you go and take Derrick Henry 2, like I'm not mad at that at all. I think there's no chance you can stack the box with AJ Brown and Julio on the outside. 0 shot. They're gonna eat you alive. I mean, you got one of those guys going at your number 2 corner, no shot. And then if you want to double up on one of them, then Derrick Henry's going to go for 250 yards a game. So I think the Titans are going to be something serious this year. I think AJ Brown and Julio are both going to be. I think they're going to be around the low end wide receiver 1 range. I think both of them will be.
I do not think this offense can support 2 wide receiver 1s and Derrick Henry. Something's going to have to give. I think it will be Julio falling to wide receiver 2 and A.J. Brown falling to a low-end wide receiver 1. You also got to throw in Josh Reynolds. I know you don't love Josh Reynolds, but Josh Reynolds never got the opportunity to shine on the Rams. He did have Jared Goff throwing him the ball. I do think he can also eat into some targets. I think he's better than their wide receiver 3 last year. I mean, Josh Reynolds has no fantasy value. I don't think unless somebody goes down, still probably not. But back to what I was saying. AJ Brown, probably low end wide receiver 1. Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry, top 3 pick. I mean, you can't give Derrick Henry the ball 25 times and then get 10 targets to Julio and AJ Brown. I just think that's unrealistic.
So I think you can. I think you 100% can. Because I think, like, legitimately, this is not exaggerating, 90% of their touches are going through Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, and Julio. I think when you've got those 3 alpha players on the same team, why throw the ball to a Josh Reynolds? I mean, Darrington Evans is going to come in every now and then to give Derrick Henry a break, and that's going to be part of that other, quote unquote 10%. But like, why? You have 3 of the best players in the NFL on the same team.
I disagree because I do think that Mike Vrabel likes to use his tight end, but Anthony Ferguson, no fantasy value.
No.
I was in the draft today with the ESPN Plus League. Some Tennessee fan drafted Anthony Ferguson in the 6th round. Don't be that guy. Anthony Ferguson's not draftable.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. I mean, I think he went before Jamar Chase, unless this guy's seeing something. Maybe he's at the camp, or maybe it was Anthony Ferguson himself. I don't know, but don't be that guy.
Yeah. Leave him off the boards.
Yeah, I don't see any kind of value in anybody but Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, Julio. We skipped over Ryan Tannehill, though.
I think he's a top 10 play this year.
With the addition of Julio?
Yeah.
That's assuming he beats out Matt Barkley for the job.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Barkley's hot on his heels. He showed a lot of promise at USC.
You know what they did call him in Buffalo? Called him Bitcoin Barkley.
Bitcoin Barkley.
Because everything was money. But, yeah, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's borderline top 10 play for me this year with the addition of Julio. I just don't love the same thing with Kirk Cousins. Same thing with Sam Darnold.
I think Tannehill's in that kind of like right behind Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady, like right behind that kind of tier. I think that's where he sits.
Well, I was just naming out those guys because Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, and Ryan Tannehill, their 3 running backs will push for those 20, 25 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just so unreliable.
All of them have 2 stud receivers.
And the other 2 do have a pass catcher running back. I don't think Derrick Henry is a pass catcher running back. Ryan Tannehill.
I think he can be.
I mean, Derrick Henry could be whatever he wants.
I just don't think they need to.
Well, maybe this season.
You think Josh Norman's come out of orbit yet?
That was uncalled for. All right, that wraps up the AFC South. The AFC West, AFC North will be coming out tomorrow, which is Wednesday. These will be coming out on Tuesday. Yeah, so on Wednesday.
Thanks for watching.
Yep, and then we will cover the NFC North. I mean, yeah, NFC North. Nope, NFC East, NFC South on Thursday. And then the NFC West, NFC North on Friday.
That's right.
And then hopefully we'll be doing maybe some mock drafts this weekend.
Well, we should have our rankings updated by then. So maybe we can feature some episodes around our rankings. They can be short, just kind of showing you our thoughts on why we changed players where.
Yeah, and next Thursday is 1 week till the fantasy season starts too.
I'm so excited. Beyond excited.
We might even get our week 1 rankings out pretty early just because, I mean, who can really wait? I mean, who wants to wait till Tuesday to see the rankings?
It's eating at me. I'm so ready. Yeah, we're going to go crazy
We'll come out with some draft strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little sneak peek. I've seen where people have been asking us. I've seen where some people have taken 2 wide receivers and then wait for their running backs. You know what? We won't even get into that. We won't even get into that right now.
Just please don't do that.
We'll wait for those videos next week after we finish the 2 divisions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 2 divisions each video. We'll cover all 8 this week. But you got anything else to say?
Nah. Appreciate you guys for watching. Check out our socials and our website, and we'll catch you in the next one.
All right. Y'all have a good